There are a lot of people that were really stretched, that were working class, and there wasn't, as Reverend Al said a month ago, there wasn't the excitement where he had seen it 4 years ago in Milwaukee, Detroit, Philadelphia.
People vote their pocketbook, and that was made extremely evident. Given the very dark rhetoric on the Trump side, people still voted their pocketbook. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut posted this a few minutes ago, quote, "Of the 20 highest median income states, Democrats won 18 of them. Of the 20 lowest median income states, Democrats won 3. Yes, race and gender play a big role in politics, but the hard truth is this. Democrats clearly aren't listening to the people we say we fight for."
Let's bring in right now columnist for the Daily Beast, David Rothkopf. David, you have two new pieces, one looking back and one looking ahead. In the Daily Beast, you explore the question, quote, "Why was I so wrong about Kamala Harris winning?" And in your Substack piece titled "Breathe, Prepare, Resist" is about readjusting now that Trump will return to the White House. So I want to ask you this question, because you look at a lot of things. Of course, we're all looking at the swing states. I will tell you, I'm looking at the middle of the country and how red the middle of the country is because, Democrats are never going to retake the Senate if they don't learn how to start winning in places like Nebraska again, in places like Oklahoma again. You and I grew up with Democratic senators, stalwarts from middle America. And that's just not happening. You look at Texas. Texas is a state the Democrats have been talking about taking in time because of the change in demographics. And many believe that 24 or 28 would be the year. The Democrats, the presidential candidate and Senate candidate, lost like 10 points in Texas. You look along the border, along the Texas border, all those border towns with a lot of Hispanics, they all went for Trump. You look at Florida, deep, deep red. So, a state that Biden only lost by 3 points 4 years ago. I guess the question is, as you're talking about reflecting on the loss, what do Democrats need to do to reconnect with working class voters that have really been abandoning them for 30 years?
Well, I think your question contains the answer. They need to reconnect with working class voters. And the way you do that at first is you listen to them. And I think it's not just working class voters who are inclined to vote Republican. It's also working class voters who are prone to vote Democrat who just didn't show up in this election. The election was a little bit closer than most people are talking about. There's a really good piece in the New York Times today by John Della Volpe of Harvard who makes the point that if there was a 1% swing in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris would be the president-elect right now. Why wasn't that 1% swing there? Why wasn't the turnout better throughout the country? Because somehow Democrats didn't motivate their own base and they didn't attract the Republican base. And so Chris Murphy's point is exactly right. The point that you've been making throughout this show is exactly right. It's time to listen. It's time to break out of the patterns of, sort of the echo chamber. I believed that this thing was going to turn out for Kamala Harris because I kept hearing the same things over. She had momentum. She had the women's vote for Roe v. Wade. She had young voters. She had crossover voters from the Republican Party. Not all of those things could be wrong, right? Well, all of those things were wrong. And, we need to get back to figuring out how to attract people who are regular Main Street voters, but also to motivate Democrats who are regular Main Street voters who just simply sat on their hands this time.
So, columnist, go ahead, John.
Jonathan. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. I'm so upset, as are many other people right now, that their children did not get off for Veterans Day. That I wasn't listening to the cues from Alex Corson. So my apologies to all of you and the children who were not able to pay respects to veterans. So, Jonathan, there are two things here that we need to talk about. And David David brought them up. One is this idea that Democrats will say, and you hear this every year, like you hear this every 4 years. Oh, if in 2004 it was, if John Kerry had just gotten the number of votes or the number of people that go to an Ohio State Buckeyes game, he would have beaten George W. Bush in 2004. And then, people were saying in 2016, if Hillary had only gotten a slice of votes here or there, then in 2020, it's if Donald Trump had gotten 45,000 more votes across certain states, he would have been president. You hear this every 4 years. So, okay, that's true. And if Democrats want to just win that way, they can just win that way. I say the bigger problem that they need to focus on, that David is underlining here, is not just sneaking by in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania every 4 years. And Pennsylvania, by the way, getting much harder because of Republican registration going up. The question is, how do you start winning in the heartland again? Because until you do that, you lose the Senate every 2 years, every 4 years, every 6 years. They have got to rebuild a national party, and not just a party that helps them win by 40,000 votes across 3 blue wall states.
Yeah, I mean, even just in that immediate electoral concern, I was speaking to one of the top names Democratic Party about 2 years ago who said this right here might have been the last cycle. Pennsylvania might have even been in play, since it's turning, according to the models, becoming more and more like Ohio, a state demographically that has, of course, gone very red. Pennsylvania seems like it's going in that direction, too. And we also know, and there's been some chatter about this in recent days, that if demographic and trends continue, that after the 2030 census and the Electoral College votes change a little bit, it's going to be the blue wall states wouldn't even be enough for Democrats necessarily to get to 270. So there is a real reckoning right now. This is the moment. It does seem like the party's willing to do it, to sort of see what could be next, to sort of broaden its appeal, to not just be a coastal party, to not just be a party of white college graduates or the elites, as their opponents might say, but to appeal to all Americans, including those in the heartland. So up ahead, a new book tells the stories of those impacted by the October 7th terror attack. The author of 10/7, 100 Human Stories, joins us next when Morning Joe comes right back.
Want a gentle way to relieve constipation? Try great tasting Coles gummies. They work by increasing water in the stool, making it softer, so it's easier to go. With no harsh laxatives, cramping, or straining. Gentle constipation relief with great tasting Coles gummies.
And Doug.
Whoa, Limu, we're in a parade. Everyone, customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Customize and save! And then I wake up.
And you have this dream every night?
Yeah, every night.
I see.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
At Dones, we know one thing and one thing only. Backs. Strained backs from weekend chores to pulled backs doing your favorite hobbies. We even know quarterbacks. Dones, the experts in back pain relief for more than 100 years. Available at a store near you.
When you're the leader in disaster cleanup and restoration, how do you make like it never even happened happen? Let it rain, Randy! Woo! Yes! By being prepared for anything! Whoa! Whatever comes your way, there's a pro for that.
Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Revival Rugs. Moving with you.
Palestinians and our allies of each side are becoming blind to each other's pain, to each other's grief. And I'm a big believer in the power of empathy to build bridges of coexistence. And I believe that human stories, that these humanizing stories are the best way to build this empathy, that literature allows us to do that much better than, our brief covering and the media does.
What did you learn writing this book?
One of the things I understood first, that 10/7 is not just part of Israeli history, but it's part of Jewish history. And when when the fence was broken on 10/7, it wasn't just the physical barrier, it was the dream of generations that came to Israel believing that that will be a place of safety for their children and grandchildren. And on that day, this dream was shattered. I hear it from families of victims that came from Arab countries fleeing to Israel, people that came from the former Soviet Union, people that came from Europe. Time and again, they're speaking about this wound reopening. And maybe I'll give an example. In the book, there's the story of Shachar Tzemach. Shachar was a peace activist from Kibbutz Be'eri, a man that gave testimonies to the organization, breaking the silence, gave tours in Hebron and the occupied territories, and really fought for a two-state solution. But on this day, when Hamas terrorists entered his kibbutz and murdered and took hostage 10% of the population, Shachar took a weapon and went there to defend the clinic. And when the terrorists came, Shachar put his hands up and said, "I'm not your enemy. Please don't shoot me." But they did. And when I'm speaking with his family, they tell me about his grandmother, Carmela, that was only a child in Iraq, in Baghdad, when she survived the Farhud pogrom in 1941. And she escaped that pogrom where her Arab neighbors murdered their Jewish neighbors and came to Israel to build this kibbutzim, believing that will be the place for safety for her children and grandchildren. So what Carmela would say if she knew how her grandchild was murdered.
Incredible.
The important new book with the title 10/7, 100 Human Stories. It's on sale now. Author and journalist Lee Yaron. Lee, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll be right back with more Morning Joe.
With Dexcom G7, managing your diabetes just got easier. So, what's your glucose number right now? Good thing you don't need a finger stick. How's all that food affect your glucose? Oh, the answer's on your phone. What if you're hitting low at night? Wow, it can alert you. And you can even track your goals. Manage your diabetes with confidence with Dexcom G7, the most accurate CGM. Learn more at Dexcom.com.
Audiences are loving Red One and calling it a blast for the whole family.
Now we're talking.
It's one of the best Christmas films ever and a must-watch to kick off the festive season.
We're coming at you.
Red One, rated PG-13, now playing.
This is the carry-on closet, the suitcase with a one-of-a-kind closet system that keeps you organized anywhere. Pack all you need for up to 10 days and travel without ever unpacking.
For gentle, dependable constipation relief, try Senokot. It works differently than other laxatives because it's made from the senna plant, a natural vegetable laxative ingredient. Gentle, dependable Senokot. Also available in delicious gummies.
If you're shopping for a home, Realtor.com's Real Commute tool lets you find homes close to work, school, even grandma's house.
Don't all apps do that?
Not really. Trust the #1 app real estate professionals trust.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different.
How so?
We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interests. So we don't sell any commission-based products.
Then how do you make money?
documentary because I would see things happening and I would jump out of my chair like it was happening in real time. There was such an emotional connection and yelling and cheering because it took you back to 2004. And of course, moments when they were talking about Tim Wakefield, wiping tears from my eyes. I will say, being able to see a man who's really been excluded from Red Sox Nation, you guys talking to him and bringing him back, Curt Schilling, to one of the most remarkable pitching performances ever. It was so great to see all of them back there. Why? And I know this happened. Mike told me this happened at the premiere. People were jumping and screaming in their seats and yelling and cheering. They were weeping. You could hear crying through the theater at the end. What is it about this documentary and this story that so connects people emotionally?
Well, I'll tell you what, we lived it, and then we made it, and then we watched it Sunday night with our friends at the Boston Red Sox up in Boston, and you still are gripping your chair, as nervous as I am right now on television, not knowing how it might end. And there were tears, there was laughter, and in the end, yes, right here, they win this. And it was just a tremendous experience making it, and it was a tremendous experience reliving it, but it comes down to kind of great teamwork between Colin and I, and our family, and our fantastic production team. But you do have moments of doubt, even having made it and lived it.
Mike, I sat down to watch this excellent series last night, and I immediately thought, why am I doing this to myself as a Yankee fan? What am I doing to myself? So I flipped over to the Knicks game, and the Celtics were beating the Knicks by 40, so I went back and finished it. But there is, the boys did such a great job telling this story from start to finish. And, you know, I had forgotten even the way they went about building this team. Like Big Papi most certainly was not Big Papi when they brought him over from the Twins. He was a guy, kind of a middling guy, who couldn't find a home, weren't quite sure where to put him. Could he play defense? Was he a DH? And obviously goes on to become this Boston icon. And also to Colin's point about creating a winner, this tension between the old and the new. So you've got the old school guy in Grady Little, the manager, who goes on his gut. And then here comes 28-year-old Theo Epstein, who's going on data from the Billy Beane school and totally revolutionizes that franchise. So I'm curious what you thought reliving it as a Boston fan.
Well, the first thing that I'm still reliving is I'm wondering, looking at Colin and Nick here, am I going to be able to get them to school on time this morning? But that's a long time ago. You know, Colin and Nick just alluded to the Red Sox mystery of how that's happened, how they came back and won 3 straight. The culture of the Red Sox was always captured by a quote from an old utility player named Frank Duffy, a Stanford graduate, who played for the Red Sox in the early 90s, and he was so abhorred by the uniqueness of the selfishness of the players that he was playing alongside that he captured the phrase, Red Sox, 25 guys, 25 cabs. What happened, I think, in 2003, 2004, 2 elements that are not underplayed in the documentary, but I think people underplay it in their minds. One was the addition to the roster of Kevin Millar, who was a natural team
strange sense of confidence down 3-1. It's like Millar saying, and by the way, Millar is such a star here. He's incredible. But Millar over and over again saying to Dan Shaughnessy and everybody else, don't let us win tonight when they're 3-0. Don't let us win tonight. Don't let us win tonight. You see it in the documentary. He goes, if you let us win tonight, you're going to be sorry. And it's weird, even you and me talking back and forth every day. We had a sense of confidence after that first win, going, man, anything's possible. They believed that they could do something no other team in over a century had ever done, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did. And that was another amazing element of it. I mean, Kevin Millar pumping his fist in his glove, talking to Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe, saying, you know, you let us win tonight. We got Pedro tomorrow. We got Derek Lowe coming up. You never know. Game 7. You never know. Game 7. Let's go. We're going to win this thing. And they did. Amazing.
And it's 20 years later, and I still can't believe that it happened. And I mean, this 2004 Red Sox is a team that changed my life, changed my family's life, changed everyone in the region's life. It can't be overstated. And I've always thought that part of why this could happen is because of some of the personalities on the team. Kevin Millar, for sure, we already mentioned, but other guys who just simply, you know, by their own admission, the idiots who didn't kind of give in to the pressure of Boston and the pressure of 86 years, whether that's Johnny Damon, Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez, David Ortiz. Talk to us as you revisited these characters, and character is the right word. Tell us the role of character, how it played to let them have a comeback like this.
Well, a lot of it is, you know, these characters working through self-doubt. You know, it's John Henry paid $750 million for the Red Sox, and he hired a 28-year-old kid who lived down the street with 2 other guys. You know, it wasn't exactly, he wasn't uber confident in that. He knew Theo was very smart, analytically driven. And, you know, Theo working through his own self-doubt of having to be, you know, he's from Boston. He knows the stakes. I think the way he put it to us is, you know, when things are going good at Fenway Park and you're the GM, it's alive, it's electric. And when you're not doing well, it's like a 6-month death march. It's awful. So working through the self-doubt, I mean, Kevin Millar, he's going to Japan. He's out of baseball. His career's over in Major League Baseball. David Ortiz is a scrap heap guy, released, you know? These kind of characters coming together and saying, like, in a way, this is almost our chance here. Some of us are at the beginning of the journey. Some of us are toward the end. But this is our chance to come together. We got to do something different here. We got to put together a clubhouse. And, you know, our old man knows Boston can be a pressure cooker, you know, and a lot of those teams, the downward pressure on them, the clubhouse was about the size of this table, you know, there's 40 media members in there. It's hard not to break apart. And Kevin Millar had a lot to do with kind of making that a walled garden where we're like, we're good in here, we're safe, we can be who we are. And he and Theo and John Henry, those 3 elements of just kind of allowing your character to come out and going through it personally is one of the things we were trying to achieve. And, you know, it's not hard to make a good documentary when you have David Ortiz, Kevin Millar, Derek Lowe. I mean, these guys are great talkers. They're very funny and great storytellers.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I learned so much about the Red Sox. I thought I knew everything about them. One thing I learned, I had no idea that Theo and Sam Kennedy grew up together and everything, but it was so tight-knit. It was such a family. But I want to talk about culture because I obsess on culture, Nick, all the time. A culture of teams, culture of businesses. It's such a predictor of success. And for the Red Sox, you know, Mike was talking about 25 players, 25 cabs. For the Red Sox, first thing they have to do is they have to get rid of their superstar, Nomar, who is a god for many Red Sox sports fans. But he was clubhouse poison. They had to get rid of him. And then suddenly, you guys tell the story. One guy goes out to eat. Then it's 2 guys going out to eat. Then it's 5 guys. Then
Noma, he's got the name, as we say in the doc, and he decides this is not going to happen, we've got to get rid of him, and deals him. And the deal does not come through as something that's like spectacular, right? If, you know, it's Mankiewicz and Cabrera. These are 2 guys who don't hit, but they can field, and who knows how this is going to work out. And it becomes a real nerve-wracking thing for Theo, and he just decides we're going to do this. And even Jed Hoyer, his deputy at the time, and who's in the doc, who's fantastic, says, you know, we don't know if this is a bottoms-up trade or if this is going to work out, and it ends up working out.
Yeah, and it's, you know, 25 guys going to a restaurant. I'm sure they were going to a restaurant, not a bar. Sure, 25 guys, big reservation.
The new three-part docuseries, The Comeback, 2004 Boston Red Sox, is streaming right now on Netflix. Director and executive producer Colin Barnacle and executive producer Nick Barnacle. Thank you both. It's weird to say that because we've known them for 18 years.
Yeah.
Okay, boys.
Extraordinary guys.
How did we ever get on this show?
Calling us the boys.
I don't know, actually. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the season 2 of the dark comedy Bad Sisters, which follows the lives of the close-knit Garvey sisters after the, quote, accidental death of one of their husbands. The cast.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Come on. How
I'm
lucky are we? Come on, Mika.
These are like the best actresses in the world. The cast of the hit show will join us live with what to expect this time around. They're super scary and weird and alluring all at the same time. Morning Joe will be right back.
Looking after our minds has never been more important. That's why at Roan, we're working with the NBA to inspire mental fitness in everyone.
I've always been an active person. Biking, running, but yoga, it's really special to me. It's definitely a big part of who I am, and I love the way it makes me feel. But there was a time not long ago when I felt I had to accept the idea of hanging up this old yoga mat. You see, I have symptomatic obstructive HCM, which left me so short of breath, I just couldn't get out here, making me feel like a bystander in my own life. So I talked to my cardiologist, and he told me about Camzyos. He said Camzyos works by targeting what's causing my obstructive HCM. So he prescribed it, and I'm so thankful he did.
Camzyos is used to treat adults with symptomatic obstructive HCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and your ability to be active. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased if you develop a serious infection or irregular heartbeat or when taking certain other medicines. So do not stop, start, or change medicines or the dose without telling your healthcare provider. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help if you experience new or worsening symptoms of heart failure. Because of this risk, Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking Camzyos, tell your doctor about all of your medical conditions, including current or planned pregnancy.
With Camzyos reducing my symptoms, I've gone from sitting on the sidelines to being back in the game.
My name is Stephanie, and this is my Camzyos moment.
Call your cardiologist today and see if a Camzyos moment may be in your future, too.
Revival Rugs. Moving with you. Take up to 30% off the entire site through December 3rd.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
There's a power within each of us. When awakened, it can boost performance, enhance learning, even help you work smarter. And you can unlock it with one simple thing: better sleep. Saatva provides that with our luxury mattresses, handcrafted with premium materials in our American factories. We even deliver to any room in your home for free. Saatva, you deserve the comfort of a great night's sleep.
This is how AG1 works to upgrade your health routine. By combining many quality ingredients into something powerfully simple. It's time to get foundational nutrition at drinkag1.com.
At Public Rec, we develop premium performance fabrics that are built to last and hard to live without. Our Daymaker pads, with their various sizing options, are designed to fit your life's moments. More comfortable than jeans, more stylish than sweats.
Big changes are coming to Medicare and your coverage could be affected. Even if you've had your plan for a while, you may need to rethink your options. Call Plan Enroll for your free Medicare coverage review. With access to plans from many leading insurance companies, our licensed insurance agents can help make sure you don't go to your doctor uncovered. They take time to learn about your needs personally. Then, when you're ready, they can help you enroll in the plan that fits you best. Take control of your coverage choices by calling Plan Enroll today.
At Public Rec, we develop premium performance fabrics that are built to last and hard to live without. Our Daymaker pads, with their various sizing options, are designed to fit your life's moments. More comfortable than jeans, more stylish than sweats.
I know what you did.
They found a dead body in a suitcase.
We'd like to ask you a few more questions.
Is this blood? There's something much bigger at play here.
Wait, you haven't heard from Ian in 2 days. I think Grace was in trouble.
I kept a big secret for you.
This is going to land us all in jail. So let's get one step ahead. This is bad, 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 bad. We are not safe. I'm starting to have thoughts I don't want to have about my own sister.
I'm thinking of going to the police.
Somebody's dead. Liz got blood in your hands. We need to get the cops looking at the right person. We are the right person.
Bad, bad, bad. I need my bad
Yes, you do.
sisters.
Yes,
That was a look at the second season of the hit Apple TV Plus series entitled Bad Sisters. The show picks up 2 years after the death of JP, the abusive husband of one of the 5 Garvey sisters. Now, chased by personal foes and law enforcement officials alike, the sisters must once again fight for their freedom, all while keeping their family together. And joining us, 4 of the Garvey sisters and co-stars of the show: Sharon Horgan, who is also an executive producer and writer; Eva Berthasol, Eve Hewson, and Sarah Green. It's great to have you all. As you can tell, I am obsessed. We're both obsessed here with Bad Sisters. I could not need this more right now. Sharon, I'll start with you. Wasn't this supposed to only be like one series? How did this happen, where it continued? And I guess, how could I get so lucky?
There was only supposed to be one season because it's based on a Belgian series, Clan, and there was just one season of that. But then, I don't know, I kind of thought, well, there's such a great response to the show. And we thought that what happens after he dies and how the sisters cope with it, and how Grace especially deals with the guilt of, you know, offing her awful, awful husband was more interesting, you know.
Yeah,
Fascinating, actually.
Exactly. And Eve, Mika and I enjoyed. We had a very soapy summer this summer watching You and the Perfect Couple.
Oh yeah. So good.
So,
You're so good.
So fun.
I'm here to serve.
curious. Yes, thank you so much. So what was it like getting the call and saying you're going to get a chance to do this again? The first time, it was supposed to be a one-off. It went so remarkably well, but how excited were you to be able to do this again?
So excited. I think I screamed, actually, when I woke up in the morning and I saw the email. But we all fell in love with each other, and so we all were hoping that maybe we get a season 2, and I don't think they told us until the season finale aired. So it was a while of waiting, and then we were all very happy.
So, Eva, let's go one step further then. There's the excitement to have this series come back, but also an expectation, because now it's lived out in the world for a year. People love the show. They're obsessed with the show. What is the pressure or responsibility you might have to keep delivering?
No. I mean, there is pressure, inevitably, I suppose, but But I think it's taken the excitement and the desire for it, like you say, was so well received that I think the appetite for it was so great that I think that sort of takes over the pressure. But I mean, there is a different pressure on you, of course, because you have to come up with the goods, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, everyone was so lovely about it. You don't want to let your audience down, you know, but also I don't want to let the characters down. Like, I was more pressure you guys reading it, actually, than putting it out there, you know, I think.
And Sarah, you've talked about being able to come back with your on-air sisters, also being with an almost all-female cast, not having to deal with dudes, with bros, with guys. I mean, that's awful, and I hate it. And it must feel great to be back into this sisterhood where you don't have to worry about pay disparities and everything else.
Yeah, we're like, it's a really safe, supportive environment to work in, and like we really do all love each other and we champion each other, and it's yeah, it's a real joy to come to work every day.
And people notice your shoes, you know? Like, yes. After all that work.
It's the important things. It's the little things.
Yeah, very
Exactly.
important. Let's take a look at a clip where the Garvey sisters encounter their new nemesis this season, Angelica.
She looks awful.
Played by the legendary Fiona Shaw.
She's a queen.
Who's gonna be next? Ready? All the single ladies. We've got something to celebrate. Well, what do you know? Hope springs eternal, the human breast. So aggressive.
So Sharon, no spoilers, but tell us a little bit about this character and the new dynamic as part of the series.
Oh, I love her so much. She's a terrible, terrible bigot, awful woman, but I love her. She's Roger's sister. And she got very close to Grace, and she finds out her secret. She finds out what she did, and she kind of uses it to get closer to Grace and to get closer to the sisters. But yeah, she's a worthy foe. She's Fiona Shaw. It's just been an absolute joy working with her. She's the funniest and the liveliest, and she's an honorary Garvey sister. She calls herself the heroine of the piece. I'm not sure that's strictly true.
I love it.
But I like it.
So, Eva, I'd love to ask you, I mean, I'd love to ask all of you this, but we have only so much time. But the concept of having a cast of female leads, it seems to me from watching it, on a really serious note, it's the opportunities to explore the humanity of being a woman, of all aspects of being a woman, and sort of equalizes us with men to an extent, because sometimes you only see one or two sides of a woman when you have a female lead. But when you have a large cast of female leads, isn't that a different experience?
It is. And it's a joyful one. And I think it's, you know, because, like you say, we haven't been used to that for a very long time. When you suddenly see material like that, like as an actor, when you read it, it fills you just full of, you know, excitement. And thank God we're being written about. And I think when it goes out then, people see the show, the response is what it is, because people want and need to see real women with all their flaws and all their complexities. And you, unfortunately, you don't see it that often. But the response has been what it is, because, like, there we are, we're being represented, you know, and that's essential.
And Eve, same question to you. What does it mean right now, particularly in this moment, to have a cast of this strong female characters?
I'm about to burn my bra.
Well, on that. Well, why don't we just end it right there? Wonderful way to end it. And the first 2 episodes of the second season of Bad Sisters are streaming now on Apple TV Plus. We are so excited, even if the interview went off the rails at the end.
At least it's good.
Come on.
She's wearing one. I'm happy to know that. Thank you all so much. Sharon Horgan, Eva Berthasol, Eve Hewson, and Sarah Green. Come back, please.
Thank you
we will.
so much.
Bad Sisters.
Stick around for a third helping of Morning Joe on this Thanksgiving morning. We'll be right back.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I saved hundreds. With the money I saved, I thought I'd get a wax figure of myself. Cool, right? Look at the craftsmanship. I mean, I even got my nostrils right. It's just nice to know, years after I'm gone, this guy will be standing the test of time. He's melting. Oh, geez. No. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
We are living with AFib, and over 400,000 of us have left blood thinners behind for life. We've cut our stroke risk and said goodbye to our bleeding worry with the Watchman implant. Watchman, it's one time for a lifetime.
Black Friday football on Prime is back. Touchdown! The Raiders, the Chiefs, an old school rivalry for a new game day. Here all day! Raiders, Chiefs, Black Friday football, only on Prime.
For more than a decade, Farxiga has been trusted again and again and again.
Glow? Flawless. All eyes on you. Skin esteem is a beautiful thing.
If you're living with dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy, or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Ask your doctor about Izervay.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression, which may help preserve vision longer.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
So shift gears and get going. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay.
Guys, reach peak performance through Ro. With access to prescription medications uniquely designed to suit your needs. We got you. Connect with a provider at ro.co/peak.
The best feeling is when we take off our bras. It's not true. So you take off your bra, but then you feel the weight. What's the solution? Honeylove bras are the most comfortable bras I've ever worn. No underwire, so there's never any digging into your skin. There is some boning on the sides, which make it super comfortable and supportive. And one of my favorite parts, no back fat. Never. The back straps are so wide and so seamless. I could work out, I could run, I could dance, I could do anything. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's supportive.
Shop our sale now at honeylove.com.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Ro Sparks.
No greater friend than the far left, which has managed to alienate historic numbers of Latinos, blacks, Asians, and Jews from the Democratic Party with absurdities like defund the police or from the river to the sea or Latinx. There is more to lose than there is to gain politically from pandering to a far left that is more representative of Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok than it is of the real world. The working class is not buying the ivory tower nonsense that the far left is selling. And the congressman explained his position to us here on Morning Joe.
Okay, it was shocking, but not surprising.
Right.
And look, the far left is a gift to Donald Trump, and it will keep on being the gift that keeps on giving until there's a serious reckoning with the results of the election and a serious recalibration. The far left of the party is pressuring the party to take positions like defund the police or open borders that alienates the vast majority of Americans. Like most Americans are in the center, right? That's not a statement of personal policy preference. That's a statement of political reality. When the Republicans swung the pendulum too far to the right on abortion, the American people punished the Republicans in the 2022 midterms. Their red wave became nothing more than a trickle. But if we swing the pendulum too far to the left on public safety and immigration, then we will pay a price as we did in the 2024 election. And when you swing the pendulum too far to the left, it elicits a public reaction that will make our country more right-wing, not less, more restrictionist on immigration, not less, and more conservative on public safety, not less. So it has the opposite effect of what is intended.
These swing states were very close. Donald Trump swept all 7, but they were still very close, as we've been saying all morning. I think what raised other eyebrows, though, is how well he did in areas people didn't expect him to do. Take your district, for example. What did you hear from your constituents before and after the election about why some of them, maybe black voters or Latino voters, Asian voters, moved toward Donald Trump?
Look, the simplest explanation is almost always the best, and the simplest explanation is inflation and immigration. Working class communities of color are hit the hardest by inflation. And then on the subject of immigration, there was genuine political malpractice. You know, since 2022, there has been an unprecedented wave of migration, whose impact was felt not only at the border, but in cities like New York, where the shelter system and our municipal finances were completely overwhelmed. I think Quinnipiac found in December of 2023, 85% of New Yorkers were worried about the impact of the migrant crisis on New York City. Despite clear signs of popular discontent, it took the Biden administration 2.5 years to issue an executive order restricting migration at the border, and by then it was too late. The Republicans had won the issue, had weaponized it against us. And when the president issued the executive order, polling revealed that it was popular among the American people, among people from every racial category, blacks and whites, Latinos and Asians. So if it was effective at reducing migration at the border, and if it was popular among the American people, why did it take 2.5 years to issue the executive order? Because it was unpopular among far left elites who have outsized power over the policymaking and messaging of the Democratic Party, and therein lies the problem.
So, Congressman, I've been speaking to some of the senior folks in the Biden administration in recent days, and they do acknowledge privately 2 regrets. One, you just mentioned, that they should have moved on the border sooner than they did. The other is they feel like they needed to deal with inflation differently. First, acknowledging it was a problem sooner, and then messaging it. Because it does, poll after poll suggests a lot of Americans, no matter what demographic they belong to, were unhappy, which is how things cost. It contributed to the sense of unhappiness. That's a harder one. And I would say White House officials I've talked to said they're still not sure what the right approach would have been. What do you think?
I'm actually more sympathetic because when it comes to inflation, like we were truly a victim of circumstance. Like unprecedented supply chain disruptions during COVID led to record inflation. And when you're the party in power in an age of inflation, it's a political death sentence.
Was there too much money put in initially?
For me, inflation was a global phenomenon, and global phenomena are best explained by global causes. So I would not attribute it to any local factors, but I feel like the Biden administration